If you can get in those high quality pockets and if you can get a higher capital growth rate longer term, it's going to put you into a better position. It's going to speed up your journey. It's going to make the journey a lot easier. I'll tell you what, capital growth feels freaking awesome. So if you can make sure that you can maximize that, it is the ideal scenario. Today we're going to be talking about what you should be looking out for when you're buying your next investment property. Recently I've done some videos on how to identify the right market, how to identify the right suburb, what to avoid when buying an investment property, and today's video is linking to them also, but looking at the things that we want to be focusing on, that we should be targeting so that we can get ourselves into the best position to purchase the right asset that's going to get us closer to those longer term goals. So if you haven't watched those previous videos yet, I would highly recommend jumping over there. We'll link them up in the description below so that you can head straight over there. But today's video is really looking at what you should be focusing on, what you should be looking out for to make sure that you're getting into the right area. So the first thing is getting into a quality pocket of a suburb. So the way that we do this, when we've identified a suburb and we know that it stacks up from an investment perspective, we want to understand the quality of that suburb itself. So what we do is we print out a map of the suburb. Then we'll look at the last 6 to 12 months worth of sales history data and indicate on that map the properties that have recently sold over that 6 to 12 month period. We'll also look at the median house price so that we can understand what properties are selling around the median house price, what properties are selling quite above the median house price, and what properties are selling quite below the median house price. And after you've done this exercise, what you're going to find is an identification of a quality pocket with an area that's not so quality, and it becomes quite obvious. Generally the quality areas are the nice, quiet, family-friendly streets. Generally they're close to the good amenities. And generally those lower quality pockets, are near the busiest streets, near the retail districts, and maybe there's a little bit of housing commission in those areas. So that's the first thing that you want to do. You want to identify where the quality pockets are, where the lower quality pockets are, and ideally be buying in the middle pocket or the higher quality pocket to ensure that you're going to be in the best area, because that's clearly where the more expensive properties are selling, and generally that's going to be for a reason. The next is quality streets as well. So not only do you want to be in the better pockets, but you also want to be in the better streets of those better pockets. So what I'm talking about is those streets that have that owner-occupier appeal. There's nice houses that have either been renovated or knocked down and rebuilt. They're well maintained, the lawns have been maintained well, there's normally some garden beds in the street, maybe some trees that line the street as well. And they're generally nice and quiet, like a cul-de-sac or an area where there's not too many cars coming up and down the street. And the reason that we like this is because then the kids can play out on the street. It's nice and safe. People feel a lot more secure in these areas as well, which is going to appeal to those owner occupiers, the people that are going to pay an emotional price for that property. So that's what we're really targeting and focusing on here. You also want to make sure that you're buying big blocks of land. If we're buying an existing property, we're looking at a bare minimum of 500 square meters. But ideally, the bigger the better here. We all hear that one, the bigger the better, and it's definitely true when it comes to the property market. Ideally over 600 square meters, because what you got to understand is the power is in the land. It's the land that's going to continue to appreciate in value, not what's sitting on top of it. So the larger portion of land that you can control, the better position that you're going to be in the future. It also may open up some other opportunities in the future as we see some population increases. Maybe we see some zoning changes, and you may even potentially be able to develop a property in the future. I know down in Melbourne, they went from being able to subdivide large blocks all the way down to being able to subdivide a 600 square meter block. That wasn't something that they could do in the past, but it was something that they could do in recent times. So, the bigger the better, because it's going to give you more options in the future. So avoid buying those smaller blocks of land. Obviously, if you're buying a new property in a new suburb or in a new area. These developers are making the land smaller and smaller and smaller nowadays. So obviously, once again, that's just going to make those properties that are on bigger blocks even more valuable. So getting onto those big blocks. The last thing is making sure that you're close to public transport options and good amenities. So you want to be close to good schools, ideally walking distance to a nice school. If not, you want to make sure that there's a bus stop nearby so that they can get easy access to those schools as well. Ideally, you want some local shops nearby. Within a couple of kilometers, it'd be great to have a nice corner store or something like that, where you can go get the milk and bread or whatever. It just makes it nice and easier and walkable. Also, suburbs with train stations, properties close to train stations, ideally within a couple of kilometers, if not within about 5 kilometers from a train station is ideal. You also want to have a nice, cafe culture and restaurants. So places where the people in these suburbs can go out and enjoy themselves as well, because that's what the owner occupiers are looking for. That's what people that want to live in the suburb are looking for as well. And if you can pull all of these things together, you're ideally getting into a slightly higher quality property, which could once again impact that longer term performance. Once again, it's just coming back to this compound growth, this compounded capital growth, because if you can just slightly outperform the average, it's going to put you in a much better position. So if you're buying in those high quality pockets, if you're buying on those nice family friendly streets, if you're buying on the big blocks, it's really going to set you up for something better in the future. There may only be a slight differential between properties in the quality pocket and the medium pocket at the moment, but that gap is going to continue to stretch as those areas begin to gentrify or become more affluent. So if you can get in those high quality pockets, and if you can get a higher capital growth rate longer term, it's going to put you into a better position. It's going to speed up your journey. It's going to make the journey a lot easier. I'll tell you what, capital growth feels freaking awesome. So if you can make sure that you can maximize that, it is the ideal scenario. So what are we looking for when we're buying an investment property? We're looking for the quality pocket of the suburb. We're looking for quality streets. We're looking for big blocks of land, and we're looking to buy close to good public transport options and train stations. It's not rocket science, guys. So go out there and invest safely. If you could please share this video with somebody that needs to see it, please do so. A lot of people get emotionally drawn to certain properties or certain opportunities. So make sure that they understand these things that they should be looking out for so they buy the right property. So send it off to somebody that needs to see it. Give us a like, give us a comment. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. Or give us a like on Facebook, or please follow us on Instagram. We want to get this knowledge and information out there to everybody so that people can make better decisions and end up in a better situation in the future, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. And as always, you're now one step closer.
Ready. Oh, that's good. That's so nice.